Hello, everyone. We'd like to talk a little bit today about SQMS. There's been a lot of buzz around what it means and how firms are navigating that space. I'm joined by Guy Willans, and we're going to have a good conversation around just that. So, Guy, So Guy, this 12/15 deadline, a lot of conversation around it. What does it actually mean?
Well, it's a great question. I mean, I think the 12/15 deadline has been in the news for a while. It's been coming. People know that. But actually, it's actually quite relaxed. It's a best efforts. It's an attempt. It's a start.
Okay.
It's putting the stake in the ground. It's ensuring that firms have actually defined the 28 quality objectives that they've got across the 6 components. Then they've identified their quality risks and tied them to each objective. It's also about linking their current and future responses. So the policies they've got, the procedures they've got, and the activities they're doing, and linking them to each risk. But really, it's a foundation. It's a system of quality management. It's a moving, ongoing transition. It's an ongoing process, if you like. And that process will have refinement and expansion, or indeed potentially contraction during 2026 and onwards. So it's a living, breathing system of quality management that's going to evolve. People ask, is there a quality manual? Because there was a quality manual previously. There's no requirement within the standard to have a quality manual. But actually, you can if you want to. And putting all these documents together will actually do that.
Okay, so it's at the firm's discretion if they want to go ahead.
It is the firm's discretion, but most firms tend to want to do something.
Got it, of course. You mentioned foundation and some flexibility. So would I be right to say that this risk assessment is not set in stone as of 12/15?
No, it's not. Absolutely not. I mean, it should be based on what you're currently doing within a firm, but obviously your risk assessment will evolve, and you may not get everything right.
Sure.
That's fine. As long as you can justify the decisions that you made and actually explain why you've done what you've done, that's fine.
Okay.
The whole process is iterative. That's the whole idea of having a system of quality management, is you're continually reviewing, continually improving, monitoring, making sure things happen or don't happen as the requirements are.
Okay.
And also it's looking to identify gaps. It's looking to see what is there that you don't actually know about. It's not going to be perfect. There is no perfect solution. It's just something that evolves over time.
Okay. Yeah, which I think is great news for firms, because the expectations around this 12/15 deadline, I do think it's very interesting. There's certainly a lot of conversation around it.
Yeah, and I would say on that, it's not a sign of non-compliance if you haven't got this perfect solution.
Oh, I'm sure that'll be good news to hear.
You've got to add something on the way.
Right. So with that being said, and with a lot of the commentary around systems, are there technologies that even here at TCPA firms can speak with that would support their efforts with SQMS?
Yeah, there are. I mean, I think actually, if we look at what AI CPA have put out, there are some spreadsheets that help with the risk assessment.
Sure.
They are fairly manual, as spreadsheets are, and they're also very in depth. So there's an awful lot of data in there, and we do find that firms that do go down this route maybe tend to over-engineer on the risk side of life.
Okay.
So they may have too many risks because AICPA, being the AICPA, it always wants to make sure that they do everything correctly.
Of course.
And they've got 300 plus potential risks there. So faced with 300 plus potential risks, you tend to up the number of risks because you're more worried.
Right. That's a lot. It's a big number.
But I think there's also QMCore out there, which obviously we've produced, and we've produced it as a specific bit of software just to address ISQM1 or the quality management standards.
Right.
And we guide people through that first bit of risk assessment, but we also, importantly, take a lot of time over the monitoring and remediation, because you can do the risk assessment on spreadsheets, but actually moving into monitoring and remediation, that starts becoming really quite challenging and quite difficult for all different sizes of firms.
Of course, right. Yeah. So that leads me to my last question then. So looking into 2026, does that landscape shift then from this foundation to more of a complex and more complicated monitoring and potential remediation? What does it look like in the future?
It does. I mean, I think it looks, there's two different ways of looking at it. There are those firms that have actually gone through a risk assessment and actually will be in the right position at the 15th of December. And those firms that haven't and are catching up. And there will be a reasonable number of those. I mean, I don't think that's dissimilar in the US as it has been around the rest of the world. I think people have progressively adopted this over a period of time. I think peer review will play an important part in that.
Interesting.
People want to make sure they're in the correct space for their peer review.
Of course.
That's maybe not how it should be, but that's a
driver.
reality. In terms of moving forward on the monitoring and remediation side, that becomes more and more complex and more difficult. Obviously, it scales with the size of your firm. So if you're a small firm, you're liable to have a slightly easier time in terms of the monitoring and remediation because you're probably almost ticking off the fact that you're doing something internally. Whereas the larger you get, the more complexity there is in this whole process. And actually, you get to a position where in some of the top firms that we're dealing with, they're sending out certifications to ensure that lots of people are doing that. And they're using a whole load of more complexity within our products than you would do if you're a very small firm.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, thank you, Guy. Appreciate it. And
My
hope
pleasure,
you enjoy
Rob.
the rest of the conference here at DCPA.
Thanks a lot.